Perfect. Okay, let me just go back. So today's focus, I will be discussing the school counseling services, graduation requirements, extracurricular activities, the Genesis Parent Portal and resources. I will review the Fort Lee website because there's a lot of resources that we can find there, such as announcements, the program of studies, which guides a lot at the high school, the school calendar. I will also briefly discuss SCORE, which is replacing Naviance. And at the very end, we'll just have a question and answer session, okay? So what do I do at the high school? What do school counselors do? I wear many hats, and I usually put this picture up because it depends on the day, the situation, what the student's needs are. And I fully believe that every student, every child learns in a different way, in a different manner. So depending on what the child needs, I am there for them. But to begin with, I do review the curriculum, the high school curriculum. I review the course selections. I do a lot of academic planning with the students, meaning information in colleges and university through SCORE. In the previous years, I've used Naviance, but this year we'll be logging students into SCORE to make sure that they have a username and password, and they can start reflecting upon colleges, careers, what really fits their needs in the future. But with that conversation, they start thinking about classes that they'll start taking in the future. So 9th grade, I keep it a little bit light because it is far from 12th grade when they actually go and apply to college. But I like for them to start self-reflecting in 9th grade, lightly. Again, what do? I monitor personal growth. Students come to my office and they ask questions if they're struggling, if they have a specific need in a specific classroom. And it may not be in all classrooms, but everyone learns at a different level. And I really need to make sure that that's addressed. I speak about their self-esteem if needed. I motivate the students, any study skills that they may need, tutoring referrals. This year, as in previous years, I'm going to go into the classroom and provide them with 3 separate lessons. I already met your child during the freshman orientation. I met with many of them in September. They're coming in and out because they want to drop a course or switch a course, or they have a question, they're confused. And like Ms. Karuba said, I'm here to help them transition. And it is a really big transition from the middle school to the high school, along with COVID and being remote. So I make myself available to your child via email. I allow them to just come into my office, or they can call. But the best way to communicate with me, I believe, is email, okay? So I will be doing 3 classroom lessons. The first one, I believe it's more important to talk about the graduation requirements. They need to know what their path is. Everything begins freshman year, but they need to have a course set. So I understand that this is discussed in 8th grade. And I know that the website has the program of studies, but these are the things that I open up on the website. I show them. I'll go into the classroom. I'll review. You know, 9th graders need a lot of patience. I need to have a lot of patience with them because they have so many worries, so many concerns, and I'm here to make that transition comfortable. So the 3 classroom lessons is graduation requirements. I will discuss a SCORE, which is very similar to Naviance. Like I said, it helps them explore the careers that they may want to go to. They can explore the colleges. They can explore whether the colleges are close by, near, large, or small. So this is the first time they start really looking into colleges with their counselor. And maybe the 3rd one is reviewing the program of studies, possibly, you know, discussing HIBs in the school. It's whatever it's needed in the building. So I kind of wait and see what is actually appearing in the building that they may need more assistance with. So I'll be going into every classroom to discuss what's needed. So what do? I also have a lot of parent conferences. If you find that your child is struggling, please email me and communicate immediately. Parents usually say, well, should I wait a little longer? Should I just see how things roll out? I feel that communication is everything. And if you start emailing me from the very beginning of you noticing atypical behaviors, if you see your child is stressed, they're not able to sleep, any differences, just email so that we could just communicate, and maybe I could have a well checklist with your child in my office. What do? I'm involved in conflict resolution with peers, and of course, transitioning back to the high school. And I already discussed HIB. I always review that, and hopefully students just use their common sense to just treat others the way they would like to be treated. That's the way, the path to enjoy the high school with so many different diverse students in the building. Like I mentioned, SCORE will be replacing Naviance for the class of 2025. And it's a website that helps students explore, reflect, develop thoughts about themselves, college majors, careers. And like I said, the journey begins in 9th grade. Everything starts in 9th grade. They need to start reflecting about what they want to do in the future. How do they start reflecting? They can use me as a resource. They can use SCORE as a resource. They can use their teachers, but they need to ask questions. They need to start talking. They need to self-advocate and communicate. And the SCORE website will help them with this journey with my assistance. So let's go to the graduation requirements. In order to graduate the Fort Lee High School, each student must earn a minimum of 120 credits. Within the 120 credits, there are specific courses that students must complete, and I will drive that. So every time a student comes to me to register for the next year, I will make sure and check to see if the requirements are being met. So, and then again, in 10th, 11th grade, the counselors will do the same. But to begin with, English, all students must take English for 4 years. Each course are typically 5 credits. Some of them are 2.5, and I'll explain that in a minute. Math, history, and science, they only need to take this for 3 years, so 15 credits. The last year, they could take an elective. So for example, instead of taking another history class, they could take a psychology class. Or in science, they can take an advanced AP class. Mathematics, again, they could continue with that, or they can take something that they've never explored in high school because of the way the schedule panned out. So maybe they can take an art class, or a practical art, or a visual art. So physical education is 20 credits. That's 4 full years. And world language. So students can take various languages here at the high school. To graduate, they need 5 credits, but we highly recommend that they take 2 consecutive years of language, because colleges usually recommend 2 consecutive years. So we just want to make sure that they're prepared for college admissions. Now, I remember saying that we have specific courses within the 120 credits. So here they are. The 21st century skills, a practical art, students will need 5 credits. A visual performing arts, students will need 5 credits as well. And now for financial literacy and the art of writing, you see here, these are 2.5 credits each, which equals 5 credits. However, students that are in the AOF program or the pre-IB, IB program, they are exempt from taking these classes. And again, students enrolled in AOF or IB will take the intro to business, entrepreneurship, or the IB economics in place of the art of writing and principles of personal finance. So they'll be making it up in other courses. In order to graduate, students will also need to have community service hours. This equals 2.5 credits or 50 hours. And this is a great opportunity for students to volunteer at an animal shelter, at a doctor's office, at a lawyer's office. And there's a lot of opportunities on Mr. Cuzzo's Google Classroom page for upcoming events for community service. Again, students that are in sports, they can volunteer after school, picking up balls, organizing. There's a lot of different ways that students can earn their community service hours, but they have to be active. And they can do the community service hours within the 4 years, but I recommend that you start freshman year. So again, the community service, all students are required to complete 50 hours as mentioned. Mr. Cuzzo is the SAC counselor here, and he's also the community service coordinator. So if you need this information, his Google Classroom page this is the code here. This is his email. You could email him at any time. And this is the app. Mobile Serve is the app to download their hours and just to monitor their hours as they begin their community service hours. However, just please keep in mind before they begin, they have to have approval by you and the school. So just make sure that before you start, you speak to Mr. Cuzzo. Now, this is the Fort Lee High School graduation planner. It's just a nicer view of what I just spoke about in reference to what is needed to graduate. So total credits earned will be down here, 120 credits, but your child is taking 35 to 40 credits per year, so they'll exceed that. Counselors just will make sure that they are taking the required courses within the 120 credits. So again, English, 20 credits, PE, 20 credits, that's 4 full years, social studies, science, and social studies, science, and math, 15 credits, 3 years, world language, 5, but we recommend 2 years, visual and performing arts, practical art, 1 year each. General elective is 15 credit, community service is 2.5. And again, what I mentioned, all students are required to take financial literacy and the art of writing, which is 2.5. And this course is usually taken sophomore year. So when I register your students for classes in 10th grade, I'll make sure that they're taking these 2 courses. In order to graduate the Fort Lee High School, they also need to pass or have proficiency in math or English, usually passing the NJSLA, but there are other avenues as well. The PSAT, SAT, ACT, or AccuPlacer, showing proficiency in math and English. Roadmap to success. As mentioned, when every student becomes a freshman, everything starts to count, and I'll explain how. All courses, grades, and credits become part of a student's transcript and are used in determining a student's final GPA. So a student may say, oh, I'm only a freshman, I don't need to worry about college, but it truly begins freshman year. Here is a sample of an actual school transcript, okay? So when a college receives a transcript, they'll see the name, address, and then there are basically just 4 boxes with the cumulative GPA at the very bottom. So 9th grade, they see numerical grades and the credit. 10th grade, they see numerical grades and the credits. 11th grade as well. Now, when they apply to college in 12th grade, the grades may not be in yet. So beginning 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, the cumulative GPA is extremely important for college purposes, okay? By the time, usually sometimes students apply in November or December, then the mid-grades will be sent to college if they already applied. But it really matters because all these grades are cumulative and it goes towards the final GPA. So as part of my classroom presentation, I believe I'm going to make the first one graduation requirement. I want to present this and show it to them so that they could fully understand and understand why everything begins to count in 9th grade. Okay. So in around January and February, I'll start registering your students for 10th grade. And this is very important to see. This is also in the program of studies. You can find that in the Fort Lee website. In order to move on to honors, if you are taking a regular course and you want to go into honors, the student has to have a minimum grade of a 93. The same, if their student is taking a regular course and they want to advance to AP classes, they need to have a 97 minimum to get included into the program. If the student is already taking honors and they want to continue in honors, an 83 average or above is required, and so on here. So honors to AP is an 87, and if you want to stay in AP and you want to continue with AP is an 83. So that's just one requirement. This is just one grade requirement, but there are 3 criteria to get into honors. You have to have a GPA of a 3.0, overall GPA of 3.0. You have to make this grade, and you also have to have a teacher recommendation. So once all those 3 things are in place, the student is able to come register with their guidance counselor with me in January or February, and they'll be recommended to that course for 10th grade. Okay. We also have an amazing athletic department run by Mr. Michael Raftery. These are the sports for the fall, winter, and spring. If you have any questions, you could email Mr. Raftery, or you could ask me. I pretty much know who the coaches are. They fluctuate sometimes from year to year, but I'll be able to guide you, okay? Also encourage your child to join clubs. This is an important way for your child to feel connected. They could use this in their resume when they're applying to college. Remember, everything counts beginning in 9th grade. So a student is going to have the transcript, then they'll have 3 letters of recommendations from two teachers and then the guidance counselor. Here is where the guidance counselor can add and show off your child. They can add all the extracurricular activities that they participated in. They can add the sports. They can add what your child volunteered in for community service, how well they balance themselves. But that is something that your child can think about while taking these clubs. But this being part of a club is more beneficial than just the application, because your child can gain confidence. They could gain more friends. They could apply what they learned in the classroom to the clubs. They could give back to the community. And there's a lot going on in these clubs that can really build student self-esteem as well. These are just some examples. The clubs right now, I know a lot of freshmen are asking me, when can I join? Where can I find a brochure? We're developing that right now, but you can tell them that in the lunchroom, the cafeteria, there's a freshman bulletin board with all the clubs that are popping up every single day. So I just really encourage clubs, sports, having them feel part of a community and part of school. It's going to benefit them overall. So student mental health resources for parents. This year we created a live website that provides counseling services in schools. They talk about school anxiety and refusal, parenting resources, referrals for mental health treatment, social and emotional learning, and upcoming events in the community. I highly recommend that you visit this website. However, if you feel that you want to speak to someone, please email me, because I could provide you with different resources to help. whether it's social, emotional, or academic. You can find this website, by the way, on the Fort Lee website under parents. So this is the Fort Lee School District FLBOE website. Here you could find school announcements. You could locate the calendar, locate the program of studies that I mentioned before. I really highly recommend that you look through this program because the program of studies offers a lot of detailed information that I'm talking about right now. They have all the course descriptions. They have some policies, everything that you may need to understand of future classes that your child is taking. This website, you can locate the Parent Genesis portal. The Parent Genesis portal also provides you with important forms that you may need for your child to continue coming to school, just in case there's something does happen in school where we have to go back to virtual learning. And I really hope that we don't ever have to go back to virtual learning, because a lot of students are so happy now in the building. I get to see them. The energy is great. I also highly recommend that you all get computer insurance. So if your child spills liquid, if your child breaks the computer, if something happens, this Worth Ave Group insurance company will replace the computer. And this is also under the parent portal. Lunch is free this year. Typically, we had a prepayment option on Pay for It, but this year, lunch is free of charge. And of course, the Genesis Parent Portal, which I'll show you where to locate it. If you're having trouble entering into your parent portal, these are the simple steps to go by. The easiest way to do it is to go into Forgot My Password, and a temporary password will be given to you. And here, once you go into Parent Access, you can monitor your child's grades, you can monitor the class they're in, you could also monitor their attendance. And based on what you're seeing, that's when if you see anything that is atypical, you could contact me. If you have a difficult time getting in, even though you forgot my password, you can email jruggiero@flboe.com for some troubleshooting. Okay, so this is the Worth Ave Group for the insurance. I just wanted to put it here just in case you needed more information. So it's $46.80 this year because it's an individual policy. So you would have to directly go to this group. In the past, we had Mr. Walden in the media center kind of monitor and kind of coordinate that. But this year you would have to go straight to the Worth Ave Group, submit your child's ID number, and that's how you can purchase your insurance. If you want to stay in the know and have access to school news, this is one of the easier ways. Just upload it onto your telephone as an app. And this is my contact information, elcerulgreen@flboe.com. My phone number and my extension. My Google Classroom page code is right here. The school counseling announcements is here. And the freshman classroom 2025 is here. I'm just going to minimize the page and go straight to the Fort Lee website. Okay. Under calendar, you can see a PDF of the calendar, the school district's calendar for the entire year. It's just good to be in the know and understand when we're having holidays, when the school's all out, and you could just pre-plan around those dates. Administration, the Board of Education. Here is where you can find the program of studies under curriculum and instruction. Program of Studies 21-22. I already clicked on it, so I'm just going to move over and click here. So this is what the Program of Studies looks like. As I mentioned, I highly recommend that you go through this, to have a discussion with your child so that they are clear with what and have expectations of what we offer at the high school. So we have the preparation for college admission, high school proficiency requirements, school and community service, course offerings, and then it goes into each individual subject. If you go straight into, for example, page 46, you'll see each math class that is being offered with a description. And towards the very ending of the program of studies, you can again see the appeal forms, schedule change request forms, graduation planner. It's a lot to read. It's a lot to look at. So you have you have a lot of time. If you want me to discuss the program of studies with you, I could sit with you and just go through certain items that might be a little confusing so I could give you some clarification. Now I'm back into the Fort Lee website. And this here under parents, this is where you'll get additional information. This is where you'll find the Parent Genesis portal where you can monitor your child's grades, attendance, and classes. And other resources. Students as well, they also have their Genesis student portal. I know my daughter is a teenager and she is consistently looking at her grades. That's the way she likes to monitor and make sure, she's keeping a certain grade point average. And it's just a form of planning. So just if you would like to have your child look at their grades individually, this is where you can redirect them to. And then there's Nalvian's Family, which I said is going to replace with SCORE. Okay. Okay, Mrs. Karuba, at this point, this is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions for us, we're going to stay here to clarify anything that I may have said. Any additional questions, you can email me for specific questions about your child. Again, the best way to access me is via email. Of course, you could call me, but I do better with email, and I'll be more than happy to assist you. Again, I'm just really honored and happy, and it's always a pleasure to start the school year. I'm here to support your child. Again, this is a really big transition year, not only because they're coming from the middle school, but because of what happened last year with virtual learning. So I am sympathetic to that. I understand that. And I always make myself available to each individual student, not generalizing anything. I just really want to make sure that I take care of my child based on their personal needs. So just know that I will be there for your child. Okay, Mrs. Karuba. Mrs. Karuba, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Mrs. Green. That was fantastic and very informative. If anyone has any questions, we just ask that you type them in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. I do see that we have one question already, and it is a parent asking when clubs will meet. And Ms. Glenn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there should be more information pushed out on the clubs in about mid-October.
And we have so many clubs here, so there's really not one answer to that question. Once the clubs are up and running, which some of them have already gotten started, the club advisor and if there's officers in that club, they'll make sure that it's known what day and time that particular club will meet. But we do have, we have so many clubs that I can't even list them all, but they all have different meeting times. And sometimes they do conflict with each other, but the goal is for the student to try to find a way to balance being in all the clubs that they want to be.
Perfect, thank you. The other question that we have is our activities that are done outside of school, whether it be sports or anything like that. Sometimes kids are actively involved in their church or synagogue and whatnot. Yes, the counselors will include that in the letter of recommendation when your child applies to college senior year. Essentially, all of our students will fill something out called the pre-college survey. and the guidance counselors pull information from that pre-college survey and include it in their letter of recommendation. I'm also seeing, how often are grades updated in Genesis, and how do I track that my child is doing their homework? Just, you know,
Best-
yeah,
I feel like to track your child, you know, it's always, like I mentioned, is communication. Make sure that you ask them questions. I know that there was parent night, I think, on Tuesday, correct? Yes. So the teachers already gave you the policies, their expectations, when they're going to have homework. If you want to email the teacher, if you're not sure, you could also communicate with the teacher on the side, because that's a personal question. But just monitor the, I would recommend you going into the Parent Genesis, because it indicates when an assignment is going to pop up. And you can monitor through there. Ask questions, email the teachers, email me. If you're seeing something that is atypical of your child, like you're not noticing a lot of homework, email me and we could just communicate.
Okay, I do see that there's a parent asking questions about, asking something about standardized testing. Probably about a week ago, I did send a district-wide email out about all the standardized tests that the district will be offering this year. It's also posted on the Fort Lee Board of Ed website. But just to let our 9th grade parents know, we are doing Start Strong testing on October 12th, 13th, and 14th. Our 9th graders will be assessed on last year's curriculum for English, math, and science. Each test will be 45 minutes long. It's essentially a mini NJSLA. So when the NJSLA was canceled in the springtime, the state determined that we would be offering the Start Strong, which is a mini version of the NJSLA. And we will be doing that in mid-October. Also, the NJSLA will be given again to our 9th graders on this year's curriculum in the spring, which is normally sometime in April. There's some questions in our Q&A box. Yes, this presentation will be sent to parents and we can send them the slides as well. Can we send a link for the laptop insurance through the chat? Yeah, Ludi, do you have that link available? Can you send it through the chat?
I'll try to find it right now.
Okay. And we already answered about the clubs and activities. There's a parent asking exactly when we'll find out more specific information about the clubs and activities, and that will be in mid-October. We normally put together a document that lists all of them, gives a description of all of them, and gives the Google Classroom code for the student to join to find out when they're meeting and how to sign up. Let's see, did we miss any others?
Okay, the link is on the chat.
Okay. Early graduation and possibility of taking courses from colleges. So that is going to be something that Mrs. Green discusses in her lessons. Early graduation is not necessarily something that's really ever done. It would have to be a particular situation. So if you have questions about that, I would say to contact Ms. Green or myself directly. Internships. So if a student is involved in AOF, we do help the child obtain an internship through the AOF program. If not, that's something that's generally done by the student and the family, but the guidance counselor would be more than happy to assist if needed.
I'm putting my email up on the chat.
Okay, great. If my child does community service for 30 hours, is she able to finish the other 50 next semester? Absolutely.
Yes.
All of the kids have the entire 4 years to finish their community service. We do like to have seniors complete it by January, just so that this way we're not chasing them around essentially a few months before graduation. But most of our students do complete their community service, I would say, in grades 9 and 10. And Ms. Green, you know, I do see that there's parents asking questions about electives. I think the best place to start with reviewing our electives is just reviewing our program of studies. So maybe if you could just link that in as well from the Fort Lee Board of Ed website.
Yes, I'll put it on the link.
Okay, great. There's lots. We probably offer over 100 courses at the high school. So it would be extremely time consuming to go through each one. But our program of studies is extremely well organized. It goes by department, subject. It tells you what's an elective, the grade level students need to be in to take it, as well as if there's any prerequisites. Yes, community service can be done in the summer, but we just remind everyone that it needs to be approved by Mr. Cuzzo through his office. So make sure that it's done prior to the summer or even over the summer. Mr. Cuzzo does check his email.
Just in case.
And that's Ms. Green's email. I will give you my email address. As well in the chat. Okay. And let me just send this to everyone.
Do we answer all questions?
I think we have answered all questions. If anyone has anything else, we just ask that you share it now. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. We appreciate all the time that you put into your child's education, and we promise you it will be beneficial in the end. And I don't, does anyone else have any closing remarks or?
I just think Mrs. Green's email is not showing up for everyone.
Okay, let me.
It's also Cerule Green. It's hyphen. So you're probably looking just for the green. It's L Cerule Green. Oh, it's not?
It was just going to the panelists for some reason.
Oh, I understand.
Okay, I sent it to everyone. Everyone should have it now.
And there was one more question on there about, will each student be meeting with guidance, or is their responsibility to schedule something themselves? Some students might need an extra push. So every year, the guidance counselor will schedule an appointment, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. We'll schedule an appointment with each student to check in with them for a variety of topics, depending on what the goal of that year is. However, at any point, if the student also would like to reach out to the counselor with a different concern or a question, they're always available to set up an appointment as well.
Yes, we're also, since school has gone virtual, we also do something else that I think is a great outreach to our kids and our community. We create a survey, and this survey gets sent to the entire building, and it's basically a check-in survey. We ask the kids, how are you doing? Are you struggling academically, personally? Is there something that we need to know about what's happening? And they'll respond to these surveys. It takes the kids all of 10 to 15 seconds, maybe, to fill out if everything is fine. But it also gives us a pulse on each student in the building. So we know a student that may not necessarily come down to guidance to talk to us about something, they'll fill out this survey and say, you know what, I do need help with X, Y, and Z. And then we know to call them down as well. So that is another layer that we do offer.
And that's the push they need sometimes. We reach out to them and they email back. They feel safer emailing back. And we always contact these children depending on their needs with the same day or within 24 hours.
Yes. And we do offer mental health supports to our students. We offer one-to-one counseling. We have an intern this year who's going to be helping us running some group counseling. And we also run mental health programs throughout the year for different grade levels. And more information about those programs will be forthcoming. The office hours in the guidance department are from 7:45 to 3 p.m.
Tutoring service depends on the teacher's schedule. They all have different times that they provide after school or before school, a classroom assistant. I believe they posted on their website for tutoring. Later on in the school year, the National Honor Society, as community service hours, also provide assistance to young, to 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students that are struggling in English or math. So that is something that will be developed soon, maybe late October. And that would be addressed via email, via, Google Classroom, and communicated throughout the whole school when they're available.
Yes, there's a parent suggesting we send the survey out with Survey Monkey and have it available on the student portal. We actually do it through Google and we post it on the Google Classroom. So that's very, very similar and it does reach all of our students. And even so, our students that don't respond to it, we will go seek them out to make sure that they do respond. So we do our due diligence to make sure that we hear from everyone. Okay, seems as if those are the last of our questions. Again, thank you everyone for your time. And if there's anything else that you need, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of the four of us. We are here to help with everything. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, everyone. Glad to see such a nice turnout.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, bye, Diego.
Bye-bye.
Here.